Hello, and welcome to today's podcast episode where I am joined by one of my wonderful clients, Me, who is a wonderful person and she has quite the story. And I want her story to inspire your next brave move. So, this conversation is real, raw, honest, and completely unprepared. Me doesn't know any of the questions I'm gonna ask her. I don't know all the questions I'm gonna ask her. So, we really just are here to have a nice conversation. So, wherever you are, get cozied up. We are just gonna have a blast. So, Me, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I really want you to start by telling us who you are, both in your private life, in your business life, and whatever else you want to share with us.
Yes, this is always the hard part of when you say yes to things. Tell who you are. I am a 33-year-old woman, a mother and a wife, and a business owner. I run a tour company, a tour business in Copenhagen called Copenhagen by Me and Friends, where we are doing cultural day tours.
Mm.
Um, I am I'm also a runner. I am a crocheter. I'm a sourdough baker, and everything in between all of those things.
I love it. And I so agree. Asking someone to define themselves in like 5 words or even 5 sentences is impossible because we are just multi-passionate, multi-dimensional beings. And I know you know this, especially as a business owner, describing what it is that you do and who you are easily is close to impossible. When you're not doing like classic say things like being a nurse or a policeman or whatever, where people have this idea of who it is that we are. So you, Me, I could say is pretty much on paper like a normal person, just like everybody else, a wife, a mom, a daughter. Even I use. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have a sister.
Okay, cool. So you're that as well. And I guess the reason why we're here is with all of the things that you had, everything on paper was successfully crossed off, like being a mom, being a wife, being a business owner, being the good daughter, being the good friend, all the things that we're supposed to fulfill in life. You had cleared all of that by the age of, I'd say, 30, 29-ish. And still, you had a feeling inside you that, what?
Yeah, so like when I checked all the boxes, I had the career, I had the husband, had the kids, like you said, have the house, have the car, all of it. I was still like, now what?
Mm.
Then I started running and I was like, I'm gonna run 5 kilometers. I did that. And then now what? Like, okay, 10. And then now what? And then I realized that was maybe not the box I needed. Maybe I should stop setting these physical boxes. There was something else missing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And did you have like a breakthrough moment, or was it more like something that evolved over time? This feeling of there's something more.
I think it like developed over time because the first thing I did was okay. I need more people. I think I needed some inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I went out. I got an office space so I could meet more people, talk to more people. That led me to joining like business groups of people, and in there, someone started talking about getting to know yourself better, like um, yeah, figuring out who you are, and they were like, "Mia, you should join," and I was like, "Yeah, that's fine. I know who I am. I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm a wife. I know who I am." But somehow I got convinced anyway, and that was, like, the starting point, and still I mean, that's where we met, and still I was a little bit like, "Mm, what is this? What did I sign up for?"
Yeah, 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 yeah. And the cool thing, just to catch up on all of that, is what you're saying is that you were looking for all of these external things to fill you up: the running, the sourdough baking, the crocheting, all the things, and they are brilliant hobbies, but they were all outside of you. They were all external things. And then, of course, when we are all faced with that question of maybe you don't know who you are, and we're like, of course I know who I am. Like we get a little bit offended somehow. It's like
Yep,
it's the ego taking up a lot of space, saying like, of course I know who I am. I've been living for 30 years or more or less. Of course I know who I am. Any serious adult know who they are at this age. Like, can you recognize that feeling?
absolutely.
Yeah. So full on defense mode. So if you're sitting out there on the fence feeling like, of course you know yourself, yes, you do, but you don't know all of who you are. And we could go into a long chat here about how much our conscious and subconscious awareness takes up space and not space, but we're not going there. You have to go to my teachings to figure that out. But me, what was the feeling you were carrying around saying, like, okay, there's more than this? What else? What feelings, what thoughts did you have? Like, take us to your internal landscape.
Like, honestly, it started with, um, no feelings.
Mm.
It was just really flat, and I was like, "Well, yes, this is it." And and of course that was not it. I started feeling like, "Okay, I'm just flat, this life is not bad, it's fine."
Mhm.
And I got ups and I got downs, but, like, they were all, again, external. So, yes, I was happy when I went on a date or when my kids did something random, but I did not walk around feeling happy.
Mm.
It was just okay.
Just living,
Yeah, it just
surviving.
I was just so used to being, uh, like, responsive to things in life that all of a sudden my kids got a little bit older and I had the time to, like, not always, like, respond to their needs. Um, I got some breaks and there were nothing in those breaks.
Mm.
I was like, "That's not how it's supposed to be."
That's not how it's supposed to be. I'm thrilled that that's how you feel, because that's actually a key point. Also, the fact that you say that it wasn't really the feelings, it was lack of feeling. I so recognize that for myself, that it was the every day just felt like the same. And even the highs didn't really feel high. I felt the lows, but they also really didn't. I was there for them, but it was also like I wasn't truly in them. I wasn't really allowing myself to feel the full extension of everything I'm able and capable of as a human being. So I often say that the superpower we all have as humans is our ability to feel, but that's what we all tend to numb for a lot of reasons. Again, we're not going to discuss those here, but that's just the fact, and that's actually where we enter into this lull state, where nothing really feels up and nothing really feels down. It's just the same, and that's what a lot of people refer to as this hamster wheel. But they also blame, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree, but a lot of people also have this idea that the hamster wheel is because of the job and all the tasks and all the things. And of course, it has an impact. But I actually say that the hamster wheel feels like a hamster wheel because everything always feels like the same, because we're not allowing the full extent of our own feelings.
I also feel like like, so my hamster wheel is a little bit different from most people who talk about the hamster wheel, because they have a, like, 8 to 4 job. And then they in the morning, they get up, they get their kids like, dressed and get them to school, they go to work, they come home from work, and they make dinner and put the kids to bed, and day is over. But, like, my job is not, 8 to 4. So I have all that time in between, and still I was, like, stuck in the hamster wheel. I
Mm.
was like, "How is that possible? This is not." I have, like, literally 4 hours of hamster wheel, like, quote, "hamster wheel" per day. My life is not supposed to feel like that when it's only 4 hours.
Yeah.
Why does all of my, like, life feel like that? There
Yeah.
should be, I mean, like, it's okay to have a few hours a day where you feel like, "We're getting through this, we're doing this, it has to be done." But you also need to feel something different throughout the day. You need different feelings when you're working and when you're with your kids and when you're with your partner. You need all those different feelings, and you need to go through those every
Hmm.
day.
Hmm. And again, a really good point, because a lot of people I know have an idea that if you are an entrepreneur, you have your own business in any way, then you will not be you won't have that hamster wheel feeling. But that's just not the case, because it's something we decide to engage in or not. It's not dependent on our job, whether we have kids or not. It's a matter of how alive we are and whether we know how to lead ourselves in life. So a good, really good point to make as well. So you were sitting there feeling numb, basically.
Yeah.
Everything felt a little bit like the same. At that stage in life, did you have any dreams? Because you checked all the boxes. Did you still have anything unaccomplished that you dreamed of?
I don't think so. I mean, like, I had a little bit business growth in mind, a little bit. I mean, this could be a little bit better, that could be a little bit better. Would be nice if the kids didn't yell as much. It would be nice if I had a little bit more dates with my husband. Um, but it would be nice with an extra car. I mean, who doesn't like 2 cars when you have 2 kids? But no, I was just I think I was just really also confused
Hmm.
because now I had it all. And it was sort of like, what's the next project?
Hmm.
What project am I missing?
Hmm.
And I mean, so I guess yes, there was an aha moment in there because I realized the next project was me because who like what I was saying, who was I?
Hmm.
Um I was not just a mom. I was not just a business owner. Um and that's when I decided that the last year was going to be about me, about becoming more of me.
Hmm. And tell us about that. So how did that happen? What did you do? How did you find that space where you thought, okay, let me try this?
I think, oh, like, so it goes way back. It goes back to, like, having my first kid, and that was just before COVID. And then COVID came, and I was like, I don't want to go back to my business when I'm done with maternity leave and when COVID is over. I, I I didn't want to do it because I had worked in it in a way that I couldn't see myself working anymore.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so kids, that they changed me. They changed the conditions I could work under. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And my husband, he was like whenever it's something with my business and I say I want to do something, he's extremely supportive because it's stuff
Nice.
he understands. He's like, let's do it. We're doing it right now. I was like, okay. So we transformed the business. Then we had another kid. That was like a minor setback for the business. Um, it's just another maternity leave, and but we were still working with the business. I worked through my second maternity leave, working on creating a business where I wanted to work.
Mhm.
And then I had the business where I wanted to work, and I was like, okay, everything is set for the business, that like it's on the right path now. And I leaned back and I was like, yeah, what else needs to be put on the right path?
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought I thought my dream was to start a business where I didn't have to do anything.
Ah, yes, the classic.
Yeah. And I work like an hour or 2 a day on average. That's the amount of work I put into it. That's not a lot. So that's basically me not wor that feels like me not working in the business. Um, but it was still not. It was still
Mm-hmm.
not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, yeah, now I forgot where I was going.
And then you joined this business network.
Then I joined the business
Yeah.
network, where I was introduced to, human design.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like my first real eye opener were when you said you can't compare your garden to someone else's garden.
Mm-hmm.
That blew my mind. I was like, okay, this I need to look into this. Um and I don't like that changed so many things. That's really just it started rolling from there. I was yeah.
Nice. It's always so fun to hear because I say so many things when I teach. And when I hear what sentences really land for people, it's so fun afterward because uh, when I prepare for all these things, I of course like I have a message I want to come across, and it's never like never the exact message that I try to say without really saying it that people feel. It's so fun. So I love that. Don't compare your garden with someone else's garden. So tell us, what does that mean to you, me?
It means that I mean, like, we're living in a time where everyone's comparing their lives to everyone else's.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a lot of social media. We're seeing a lot of things out there. We're seeing the definition of success in all other people's profile. But we're just seeing a teeny tiny picture. We can't compare ourselves to that.
Mm.
Um, I mean, like, if it's, like it's a new year. A lot of people are talking about New Year resolutions, about being like losing weight, being skinnier. So you're like, oh, we're gonna lose weight. We're gonna be skinny now. We see all these other people becoming skinny, but they're not telling you what they are giving up, or maybe they're not giving up anything. But maybe, I mean, a lot of people are taking weight loss medication right now, and not everyone's telling you. So you don't know. You don't know
Mm.
how what brought them success in their journey. Um, you don't know the full picture. So you don't know if they have already been running for 10 years before they run their first half marathon. So,
Mm-hmm.
or if they just started running last year, you have no idea.
Yeah.
So focus on your own journey.
Yeah. And in that, also, when we, because we can look at other people's gardens, but we also really have to remember to we can like what it is that they have, but we have to have like a conscious choice and an adult conversation with ourselves saying, okay, so is this just another thing that I'm told I'm supposed to have success? Or is this actually a desire of mine? Because I think that your story also highly emphasizes that not only had you forgotten me, who you were, chasing all those external things, but you actually also forgot to be in contact with your own dreams.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing as well, because humans are nature and everything in nature grows. And anything in nature that doesn't grow it dies, either physically, spiritually, or emotionally. And that's why we also have to have this leading star in our life, or multiple guiding stars. Because if we don't, we're also just going to be, first of all, we're going to start settling. And we're also going to feel that numbness because we don't really have that thing that keeps our drive high and keeps propelling us towards whatever more it is that we want. So that numbed hamster wheel state is impacted by so many other things. And of course, also impacted by our life choices, our partners, our jobs, and all those things. But so much just internal stuff that we can actually impact ourselves. So
there's also a whole story to like accepting the hamster wheel, because if you accept that this is how it is, then that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, you're giving your power away, essentially.
Yeah.
Saying I can't impact my own life, which is horrible because we all can. We're the most powerful creators. We really have to accept and embrace that. But that's difficult because that means we also have to take responsibility for everything that happens in life. And that sometimes also feels pretty damn hard. So, Mie, what did you do? What was your step into personal development?
Well, what did I do? I signed up for YouMed. I found someone who could help guide me.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that was someone, that was you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I did not know anything about like self development. So like I think, yeah, I needed a place to start.
Mm-hmm. Had you been
Um,
going through like books and podcasts and all different things before you signed up for the first program, or was it just head on in?
Head on in. I
Nice.
had not signed up. I had not checked anything before.
Okay, that's actually very rare because a lot of people have tried to piece things together, binging content with whatever content creator they like, or been listening to different podcasts or books, and that's when they take the step saying, okay, so I need more. But you, my friend, just did it in your own way.
Yeah, like I started with like a small course. I
Mm-hmm.
started small, and that's when I said, okay, I need more.
Okay.
And then I called you again. Did I need
Yeah,
more? And
I need
that's
more.
when I went full on in.
Mm-hmm. So, one of the things I'm often asked, because I also talk about this more in my content and when I speak to people, what was your more? Have you found out what your more was?
My more was about consciousness and calm.
Hmm.
Um, like actually becoming more aware, becoming more aware of me and my patterns. Um, and it just like, if like all the things I heard, every time I heard something that resonated with me, I was like, okay, that's why I do it, or that's
Hmm.
what I'm doing. And every time I got that, oh, that's what I'm doing, that's why I'm doing it.
Hmm.
That gave me sort of like a small kick. Like, okay, I need to know more about what else am I doing.
Yeah. So
Some of the
you.
things I'm doing is very good, but some of the things I'm doing are also like holding me back and making me feel numb.
Hmm. So understanding yourself all of a sudden became the most interesting thing you could actually do in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is pretty great because we're limitless. So we can actually keep this exploration going forever and ever and ever. And the more we learn about ourselves, I hope that's also how you feel. the more easy it becomes to love ourselves and to hold ourselves in all the ups and downs let life throw our way. So personal development is, and I know you know this because you took one of my initial courses. It's not just something we do for a month or for a day or for a book. It really is a choice, and it's a commitment to ourselves to not only let all other areas of life flourish, but also remembering that we have to flourish. We have to nurture ourselves because we are that garden, essentially, that needs to be watered, to be fertilized, to remove the weeds, to be watered, and all of that. Because when that is in place, everything else falls into place more easily. But that's not what we were taught. We were taught the other way around. Like when you have all the things, then you'll feel good. That's just not how it ends up.
You need to know which flowers need to be watered every week, which flowers will die if you water them every week.
Yeah.
Um,
What flowers do I want to plant?
yeah.
Yeah.
Which flowers are which are my options?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what are your biggest takeaways from this personal development that you've been doing for, I'd say, 6 months or so now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your biggest, like, maybe let's start. What are the most important things that you've learned about yourself?
One of the first really important things I learned about myself is about my human design. Where I found out I am a generator, and not just I'm not just a generator. Um, I take in a lot. I don't know the human design words
That's
for
okay.
these, but I take in. I take in my husband's energy. I take in my kids' energy. I take in my kids' um, issues and feelings, and I feel the mess around me. I
Mm-hmm.
feel it all. And learning about myself that these are not necessarily my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge game changer for me because that taught me that maybe I don't need to um, stick with these feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can just let them pass through me.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge they're there and they don't need to take up all the space and all the energy. Because that made space for like other things. So like if I'm not frustrated because of all the feelings I'm feeling, my head is clearer. I can think more problem solve oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can come up with ideas. I could be more creative. Just like even just in my daily life, I found the energy to do the dishes because I was not overwhelmed with my daughter's cracker that fell on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just all of these small things that I've been using a lot of energy on.
Mm-hmm.
I could sort of like pick that out, say, not really not my frustration here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the first of the big takeaways that I had. And then from there, it just started rolling. I was like, okay, that was one thing I didn't have to focus on. That gave me some calmness. We've had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of talks about how I'm feeling much more calm in my life, and how that gives me more energy. Um, and so just like figuring out that yeah, just figuring out that
Mm-hmm.
all the
So
things
what
that we
areas
spend
of your
energy
life?
on.
Oh, sorry, you were saying.
No, I was just saying all the energy that I've spent on things that it didn't help me, it didn't help anyone else.
Mm, yeah. And that's so beautiful because that's one of the key things about really doing this work is closing our energetic leaks so that we actually have the energy to create what it is that we want to create in life. And that's also why personal development is multi-layered, right? Because at first we just get the awareness, then we all of a sudden get more energy, then we figure out, okay, so with all this excess energy, where do I want to place it? What do I want to create? And how do I hold myself through that creation? So it's a process, and it's a continual process because there's always more to lean into. So you're saying here that what you have learned about yourself has helped you close these energetic leaks, that you're able and capable to hold your daughter better in her emotional outburst, that her energy and her mood doesn't impact you as significantly, because you sometimes had these issues with if you had a bad morning with her, that meant you had a bad day. So that has sort of been cleared. Of course, you're impacted by your daughter, you love her, but you've
It
really come into different
it
balance.
it also makes a huge difference when you're sitting there with a 3-year-old crying, because is how are you handling this?
Hmm.
If I take in her feelings, then I'm the one who's extremely frustrated, and having all these sad feelings. How can I comfort her when I
Hmm.
feel like that?
Yeah,
But if I can say, "Hey, me, these are not your feelings. You can take care of her feelings in her body."
yeah. Yeah, because you get to become the witness rather than actually being the one feeling, and that changes everything. And that's what we learn in personal development, is to switch between being this feeling person who's allowed to feel all the things, but also witnessing ourselves in our patterns, in our processes, in our triggers, in our activations, in all the things. And that's the beauty of being able to lead ourselves in both of those elements. So, what other areas of life has impacted you during these 6 months of doing personal development?
'Cause, like, it's influencing everything. Um, it's influenced I mean, like, the the biggest thing it's influenced besides myself is my relationship with my husband.
Hmm.
Um, having 2 small kids mean there are a lot of things to handle every day.
Hmm.
Um, and then the first you forget, like, you forget yourself, you forget your partner, they forget themselves, they forget their partner, like, that would
You,
be
yes.
me. Yeah. Um, so we forget each other and we forget ourselves. And I understand why a lot of people agree not to get a divorce in the first 2 years, because w you are not you in those first 2 years of having a kid. For us, that was almost 3 years, and that was also okay for it to be 3 years, but then we were like afterwards, "Okay, so who are we now?" And we needed to figure out who are we individually and who do we wanna be. Um I talked to someone who said, "Are you even sure you wanna be together?" And that was, like, the only thing I could say absolutely yes to. So I
Hmm.
don't know who he is anymore, but I know he's the one I love.
Hmm.
He's the one I want. Everything else, let's figure out how.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, like, this me learning more about myself is also teaching me a lot about him and about how I am towards him and how I respond to him being him.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, like, it amazes me how much, like, learning about myself teaches me also about everyone around me
Mm.
and all my relationship with the people around me.
Yeah, that's a perfect sentence. I'm amazed by how much learning about me helped me understand the people around me. That's so true, and that's the gift, and that really is why this work that can, from the outside perspective, look selfish, quote unquote, because I don't really believe that word exists at all. But that's why some people deem it selfish. Like, why do you want to work with yourself? Why do you want to understand yourself? Because it's a gift that you give yourself so you can be more of a gift to the world. but we don't really realize that until we are in it, and we really learn that by understanding ourselves, we understand so much more of the world. So that's
Yeah.
a beautiful realization. So in this relationship, what does that mean? Do you have, like, tell us, what has it given you a better sex life? Do you have better conversations, less fight, like the tangibles of what this work has done so far?
The biggest thing is that we have less fights.
Mm-hmm.
We have better conversations. I have learned how I've also like learned how I communicate and how that might have seemed aggressive to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like a disclaimer, he's not been doing this work. So far it's just me, and I've been telling him about it, about the breakthroughs that I'm getting. And just based on that, like we have better communication because I've learned that okay, actually doing the dishes, that makes him happy when I do it, even though that's, his thing here. Um, and I have learned how to communicate when I'm not, why I get frustrated when he doesn't finish when he does the dishes. I've
Mm-hmm.
learned to communicate in a way that doesn't seem aggressive towards him, and it doesn't seem like I'm attacking him.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so I think it's definitely about the communication and about being able to create spaces where we both want to have the conversation,
mm,
instead of just me jumping the conversation on him. Um, yeah, we're not biting at each other
nice.
um, anymore. We're no one's perfect. Of course, we're
Yeah,
doing it
yeah,
from
yeah. We
time to
all know
time,
that. No,
but
we don't need
it's at
disclaimers.
a
Let's just say
complete
less.
different level. Yeah. So it's more harmonic.
Mm, that's
Yeah.
brilliant. That is brilliant. And considering that you, I'm going to say, only have done the work for 6 months, that's also some huge breakthroughs. And I know that you have several more. We could we could continue forever in this, but I really want to touch on a topic that as I said initially, I prepared you for none of these questions, but I want to ask you a question because I know a lot of women and probably men as well have a little bit of a block engaging in this work because they fear that in doing so, they will outgrow their partner, their friends, their parents, any relationship really. Have you had that feeling or thought at any point?
Honestly, and I think this is very uncommon, I haven't.
Mm,
Um, because I went into this with the I want to be with him, and that's part of why I'm doing the work.
mm-hmm,
For me, it was more like if we don't start doing this work, we're gonna like grow apart, or
mm-hmm.
not growing and numb apart instead.
I'm a part.
Yeah. um, I think my biggest fear was that he wouldn't feel inspired by the work that I'm doing to also join the work. And even though I've said he hasn't done the work yet, he's seeing that I'm doing it, and he's tapping in on it. He's like is rubbing off on him too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, for me it was actually the opposite.
Okay.
Um, like if we don't do any work now, we're not gonna be together in 5 years.
Okay. Nice.
So I went into this because I wanted us to find each other post babies.
Beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And I think you're right. It's not the most common thing. It's beautiful nonetheless. But I also really wanted to ask that question just to normalize that it's completely fair if you are a person listening to this who has this feeling of like, oh, what will happen if I do this? Because we're walking into the unknown. We don't know what will happen. But having that beautiful intention you had of like, I'm actually not just doing this for me, I'm doing this for us, would be the most beautiful step in. So I'm not doing this to test my partner or our relationship. I'm actually doing this to allow us to grow in a harmonious way. So I'm really glad that I asked you that question. Okay, me. So for anyone on the fence of doing this work, like, do you have any suggestions for how they could jump in, or how, and I'm not asking here to say that you should jump into my world, of course. I would love that, but that's not what I want you to say. It's just, what ideas do you have for people to move into personal development? What things do you think that they should be aware of as they start doing this work, or as they take the first step into the work?
That's a tough one
Mm-hmm.
because, yeah, my mind is like, I have some key words coming into my head as you ask this question. The keywords are pretty much summing up all the things I've already mentioned. Um, Feeling more. Who doesn't want to feel the ups, especially? Um, who doesn't want to be aware of what's happening in their life? I mean, maybe if there are a lot of bad things happening in your life, I don't know. But why not? Why not understand? Why not understand your life? Why not understand what you're doing and understand yourself? We're working so much to understand and analyze everything else in our lives. Why not start by understanding ourselves?
Hmm.
Um, so, like, to be a little bit, to use some different words than what you're using, it is about self development. But then again, maybe it's not so much about self development. Maybe for me, it's more about self understanding.
Hmm.
Development will follow. Um, but for me, is really grounded in the understanding. Yeah.
I like that. I'm sitting here with the biggest smile on my face because that was also the most beautiful quote. When you understand yourself, development will naturally come. That's essentially what you said. And
Yeah.
that that also has that more feminine flow energetics, like, I don't need to do this work. And I really want to emphasize that for anyone listening. We don't do this work because we're broken, because something is wrong with us. We're actually engaging in this work to understand ourselves better, so that we can unleash more of all the things that we actually are. Because in doing that work, in understanding ourselves so we can allow the development, that's when we start to feel whole and fulfilled by life. That more that we're looking for, that thing outside the numbness that we can't really describe. We don't really know what it is. We just know that it's there. That's where it's coming from. And that's also the whole issue with personal development work, and or development or self-understanding. You can call it whatever you want, but it's difficult sometimes to grasp because it's untangible, right? It's all internal. We don't always have the words to understand, to express what it is that's actually happening to us. We just start to feel different. We feel more. We look at the world through a different lens, and that just changes everything.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So what is your dream from here in this work? What areas? This is going to be the final question. Where else do you want to grow? What is the next more that you need to dive into? Where do you need to understand yourself even better?
I feel like if I knew that, I would just do it. That's not how it works. But I feel that's the thing about me only being 6 months into it. Um, I don't know.
Mm,
I don't know what more there is. Right now, I'm focusing on digging deeper into the areas that I'm introduced to, but there are still so many like areas of me that I've not been introduced to yet. And as I said, I don't read the books, so I don't get the automatic introduction to it. Um, yeah. So what's next? And what's more? Um, I think it's just a little bit more of the same because it's not done yet.
mm,
My relationship can become even better. We can understand ourselves and each other even more. I can become even more calm and even better at what are the words? Being mature when my kids need me to be mature, emotionally mature. I can work even more on that. Like when when can I let go and when do I need to be the strong one? Because there are always like areas in people's lives, if it's as a boss at work or as the wife or as the mother, or there are areas where you need to be like the strong one and need to be
mhm,
the emotional mature one, and then there are areas where you don't have to, and like becoming even more aware of those and becoming even better at managing when am I one and when am I the other.
mhm.
um yeah, so yeah, more calmness, more awareness, yeah, less yelling.
Yes.
I yell when
Yes
I'm
to less
overwhelmed.
drama.
I yell when I'm overwhelmed. Um, so just even more like looking at what's overwhelming me in life, and
Mm,
those are the areas of my life that where I can become even more, where I can understand myself better.
mm. Nice. Nice. I actually lied because I have one more question, and that's going to be the final question. But I just want to tell everyone who's listening that me, of course, as we said, has been a client of mine for the past 6 months. Right now, she's in my mastermind, which is called Revolution. And this is just like an abundant world of personal development programs. It's also like a coaching session set up where you have essentially you walk with other people who do this work, and you know that you always have a place to plug in and be held and be met. And I want to ask you, like, how does that impact you knowing that you have this place? Because let's face it, a lot of us who are doing personal development work, we're maybe the only one in our friendship group, maybe the only one in the family doing this. So how does having this community of like-minded women walking shoulder to shoulder with you, what has that done for the work that you've been doing?
It makes me feel like I am a talk to thinker. I become very much aware of what's happening in my life by saying it out loud. And this is giving me a space to say the things out loud and become even more aware of what am I doing and what am I accomplishing doing this work. And I think that's like my biggest, that is the biggest gift for me in having this and doing this work with other women who I've never met before, but who I know in like ways that I don't know some of my friends now,
Mm-hmm.
um, and who know me like most of my friends don't know me also.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just having a place where I can say the things out loud and it feels like I can say anything in there. If this isn't something with my job or something with my husband, and like if I like say some like talk about issues with my husband with my friends, I mean it's different because there with my friends it feels like I'm complaining to complain,
Hmm.
but in this community it's more like, okay, why is this a
Hmm.
thing that I need to talk about?
Hmm.
And I personally focus more on what did I get out of saying this out loud, when I'm saying it in this group. So it sort of like feels like we set the scene, and then whatever we're talking about in this scene, um, the idea is what can we take away from it, and it's not like things that topics that we would talk about in other settings. It could like sometimes it could be like it sound like gossiping because you're just saying it to say it. Because what's the purpose of saying it? But when I say it in this group, there's always a purpose for it.
Mm.
Um, and that purpose is understanding it and learning from it.
Okay.
So it gives a complete different setting for the topics that are already happening in your life.
Nice.
Mm.
Nice. I really like that. And I completely recognize that having a group of people who you just know by default have some of the same values that you do, wanting to grow themselves, expand their life, find more peace, more power, more potential, just knowing that you have those settings and you don't really have to like check them out. Can I trust them? Can I not trust them? We also have a confidentiality in the group and commitment to that, of course. But the fact that you have a place to have an outlet for what it is that frustrates you with people who don't have your full history, who don't know your partner, who won't recognize your partner and know this story the next time they see them is so liberating. That's what I found. It feels to me like I have a space to say everything I need. I know that I will be held. And I also know that I'm doing it exactly as you say, to grow myself, to understand, not to be validated in him being a jerk or me having messed up, but really from coming from that deeper perspective of like, this is the situation. How can I see it from a different angle and what can I learn from this? And that's really the beauty.
Mm.
Awesome. So I think that is everything, Mia. I want to thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I absolutely adore you and your story, and I love the fact that you were willing just to come and share so openly and deeply who you are, which I also know has been a thing for you, learning to open up to this side of yourself. I still sometimes laugh when I see one of the first comments I got from you, like, I hope it's not going to be too spiritual. That was your biggest concern. That was so sweet and so much fun. And we've all had those feelings. And now I just see the woman who you are becoming. And that's the most beautiful thing. So thank you for gifting me that gift and for gifting everyone else the gift of joining this podcast. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, babe. Anytime.